Our plans call for a 65-inch long tiller with a 30-inch tiller extension. And the plans talk about making a laminated tiller with a curve to it, but they recommend just using a straight tiller, so we're going to go with that. We can always upgrade to something fancier down the road. For materials for the tiller, I have this nice piece of mahogany that's going to be the main tiller, and I have this second piece that's going to be the tiller extension. I'm also going to use these two pieces of mahogany to mill down to form the cheeks of the tiller where it connects to the rudder. These cheeks are going to be a total of 24 inches long and attached to the tiller somewhat like this. So my first step is going to be mill them down to the same height as this tiller piece. The next step is going to be setting the depth of this notch where the tiller attaches to the rudder and then gluing these onto the centerpiece. According to the plans, this notch is supposed to be 4.5 inches deep. So I'll just measure 4.5 inches from the end of the cheeks. And that will give us our position to glue them to the center piece. That glue up's complete, so now we'll just let it dry overnight, and then we'll start shaping it and fitting it to the rudder. Now that the glue's set up, I can go ahead and clean up any unevenness here on the top and bottom, and then we'll work on shaping this tiller. Now I'm going to measure 1 inch forward from the start of the notch, and then I'm going to taper it down from that point to where it meets up with the main part of the tiller. Now that I have these cheeks installed, I can work on tapering the rest of the tiller. The plans call for this width to be the same as your rudder, and then the height of the tiller, it directs it to be 1 inch. It's currently 1 3/4 of an inch tall. I think I'm going to keep it a little taller than the plan suggests though, because my rudder is thinner. So I think I'm going to cut it down to be about 1 1/4 inches tall here in the back where it connects to the rudder, and taper it down to about 7/8 of an inch tall at the front where it'll connect to the tiller extension. To do that, I'm just going to line it out using a batten. I'm also going to go ahead and use a French curve to round off the end of the tiller. that's it for the rough shape of the tiller. I finished knocking off all the corners and giving it a light sanding. My next step is to put 2 rivets in to help support the tiller. The first rivet goes in just a couple inches forward of this notch, and the second rivet goes 6 inches forward of that. I'm going to use this aluminum rod that I also used on the dagger board. I'll use one of these offcuts to prop it up perpendicular, and I'll use my drill press to drill the hole, and then we'll put in the aluminum rod and peen it over on the end to make it a nice rivet. While I'm here at the drill press, I can drill the hole at the front of the tiller where the tiller extension is going to connect. With the 2 rivets complete and the sanding and edges all smoothed out, this tiller is ready for finish. Now I'm going to work on the tiller extension, and that way I can finish them both at the same time. The important dimensions for the tiller extension are that it's 30 inches long, and then it has a fork where it's going to fit onto the end of the tiller. I'm going to lay the end of my tiller on the tiller extension and use that to get the dimensions for the fork in the tiller extension. I can simply trace it out with a pencil. With the notch roughly drawn in, I can creep up on these dimensions using the bandsaw. Obviously this is not the final bolt. I'm probably going to drill it out and put in some bushings. But for the most part, I've got it right where I want it. I've just got a little interference right here. So you can take a little bit out of this cheek and we should be good to go. Mark it right there. There we go. Full free movement through the full range of travel. No binding. So that's the mechanical part of the tiller extension done. Now I'm just going to shape it to make it a comfortable handle. probably hard to pick up on camera, but I have my design figured out. So it tapers down from both sides, but the main tiller extension is offset towards the top. That'll give me a little more deck clearance. And it's a constant width tiller extension down to the knob, which I'll carve onto the end. Here's the tiller extension all roughed out. Now I just need to round off the corners, smooth it out, and finish carving the little nub on the end. So here's the final tiller extension. I just finished it up by hand sanding, and now both pieces are ready for finish. With the tiller complete, I can now adjust and choose where I'm going to fit it on the rudder. There's a notch here that will prevent the tiller from falling down and hitting the deck. So I can balance the tiller on that notch and then move this up and down to adjust how high I want it off the deck. I can then rotate the rudder to make sure it's not going to interfere. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to drill my hole through the tiller first, and then I'll come back and mark where I'm going to drill the hole on the rudder. I picked up these bronze bushings that I'm going to set in the tiller and the rudder to help prevent wear and to prevent these holes from getting wallowed out. I also got some smaller bushings that'll do the same on the tiller extension. These are 3/8 inch internal diameter and 1/2 inch external diameter, and these are 1/4 inch internal and 5/16 outside diameter. That bushing is set. I'll just grind or sand off the end to be flush with the wood. Now to set the other one. Using a clamp or a vise works much better than trying to hammer them in. You're much less likely to split the wood or damage the bushing. Let's see if my alignment is still good. It's a little tight, but it'll work. Hey, that works. Just have to trim these bushings down. Using the bolt between both of them helped them maintain their alignment, so that worked out pretty well. This side is in where it needs to be, but I just need to bring in this side just a little more. This clamp is a little too thick to reach in here, so I need to figure out something else. Try my little clamp. There we go, those are both right where they need to be. So now just to grind these outside ones flush. I had to put a little water on these bushings to keep them cool while I ground them down flush, but it worked out pretty well, and I've got a nice flush fit there. Now it's time to mark out where we're going to drill the hole through the rudder. I'm just going to maneuver the tiller into place where I want it, check my deck clearance, go a little lower. Oh, see, that's too low. A little higher. Gives me about 45 degrees of throw there. And again, the tiller can always be lifted up higher. So I got a drill bit. I'm just going to insert it in the bushing, and spin it to mark the hole. Now I can take the rudder off and do the final drilling. I'll press in this final bushing using a C-clamp, just like the others. That's got it started. There we go, it's pressed through. Now just to remove the excess. With that bearing pressed in, let's go ahead and check our fit up. So I got a stainless steel bolt and another bronze washer. Gonna put that on. Line it up. Put it through. Put on another bronze washer. Then I've got a cap nut. There we go. That works pretty well. We can also check the fitment on the tiller extension. So this bolt I'll trim down a little bit with a hacksaw and then clean it up on the grinder. But that works really nice. I trimmed this bolt to length and here's the final fit up. It's nice and snug and strong and is going to provide good control for the boat. Well, that wraps up the construction on this tiller and tiller extension. It turned out great. It's really functional and I think it looks good too. I'm going to go ahead and apply the 3 coats of wood sealer and 6 coats of varnish off camera because you've already seen plenty of that on this channel. If you have any questions or comments about any of the processes I used making this, please feel free to throw them down below. I hope you found this video entertaining and useful and that you'll check back for future videos where we're going to go on to continue finishing the decks, installing all the deck hardware, and then going on to build the mast, boom, and working on the sail kit. If you want updates between videos, don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks again for watching Make Stuff Nation. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.